Coming up, stormy weather with heavy rain and snow hitting parts of the country this week. We'll take a look at the science behind one natural phenomenon you may be familiar with. Also ahead, around the globe, we'll visit one marine park in the Bahamas, teaching kids about dolphins and so much more. Plus, what's on your mind?
My name is Theodore and I'm 7 years old and I'm from Concord, Massachusetts. My question is, why did people wear wigs with curls in the colonial era, and why did they wear wigs like that, and why did they stop?
And hoop dreams. NBA All-Star Steph Curry makes one teen athlete's dreams come true.
There's somebody that wants to meet you there. You know who that is? His name's Steph Curry.
His inspiring story straight ahead.
This is NBC Nightly News, Kids Edition.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. I'm Lester Holt. It is great to be with you. Hope you're all having a good week. We have a super lineup ahead, including our picture of the week, and we will also put you to the test again in this week's pop quiz. But first, let's begin with one of the top stories we're following this week, and that is the extreme weather leaving its mark from the Great Plains to the Atlantic coast. A string of thunderstorms and tornadoes broke out across the South this week, while the Midwest got slammed with more than a foot of snow as temperatures plunged well below freezing. And here in the Northeast, heavy rain and fierce winds caused some flooding and even power outages. I can tell you from personal experience, it was awfully tough holding onto my umbrella in those gusty winds. And we know stormy weather can be scary, especially when we see those big floods. So we thought we'd take a turn here to better understand the science behind rain and maybe make it a little less scary. Here's our good friend Dylan Dreyer.
Rain. It can spoil some of your favorite outdoor activities. But have you ever wondered, what is rain? And how does rain actually form? Rain is water falling from the sky, and it's a part of the Earth's water cycle. Water has three forms. It may be a liquid, a solid called ice, or a gas called water vapor or steam. Rain is the liquid form of water that falls from the sky in drops. At the start of the cycle, the sun heats up water on the earth. The heat causes the water to evaporate or turn into water vapor, and then travels up into the sky. Clouds are formed when water vapor rises into the air. These water droplets clump together and eventually form clouds. When water droplets bump into one another in those clouds, they stick together and grow in size. And when these water droplets get too heavy to stay in the cloud, they fall to earth. That's rain. Sometimes if it rains too much, it can cause flooding. But it's important to note that rain is a good thing. Rain is essential to all living things on Earth, playing a critical role in the growth of things like plants, trees, animals, and humans too. Did you know one of the wettest places in the United States is Hilo, Hawaii? This city averages about 211 days a year with measurable rain. Umbrellas definitely come in handy here. So now, the next time you hear the forecast for rain, look up in the sky and try to spot the rain clouds. And even though rain can damper some of your plans, there are always rainy day activities to enjoy indoors while you wait for the raindrops to stop falling. Or you can simply go outside and splash around in all those puddles.
All right, Dylan, thanks so much for that. And while many people here in the Northeast were hit with heavy rain, others have been battling some really frigid temperatures. But that didn't stop these kids from enjoying a snow day in Madison, Wisconsin this week. And that, by the way, leads us to our pop quiz question. The question this week, which of the following is one of the coldest countries on Earth? A, Russia, B, Antarctica, or C, Switzerland? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay, time's up. While it is true Antarctica is the coldest place on Earth, Antarctica isn't technically a country, it's a continent. So the answer is A, Russia. Did you know that Russia stretches over a very large expanse of Eastern Europe and Northern Asia? I've actually traveled to Russia on assignment during the wintertime. It does get awfully frigid. Now to our Around the Globe series, and this week we're heading to the Bahamas, a chain of nearly 700 coral islands, but only about 30 of the islands are inhabited. Did you know the Bahamas is an island country? It's located in the West Atlantic Ocean, southeast of Florida. And it's here where our Kids Edition correspondent Drew Hubbard recently visited a marine park like no other.
Have you ever been to an awesome aquarium or an animal exhibit? Well, I'm going to take you inside and show you how they do it. The Bahamas is a nation of nearly 700 islands in the Caribbean, just off the coast of Florida. In the water around those islands, there's tons of marine life. Sharks, turtles, stingrays. At one place, adults and kids get a chance to see it all. On Paradise Island, the Atlantis has aquariums and underwater tunnels where you can see the animals up close. Outdoors, the resort says it has the world's largest marine habitat, and a lot goes into protecting the animals so visitors like me can learn about them.
Well, first and foremost, welcome to the only marine mammal rehabilitative facility in the Bahamas, and definitely the largest in the Bahamas.
I got a behind-the-scenes tour.
Everything we do here is about education and conservation.
It's different from a water park. Is this a dolphin show?
No, it's not a show. It's actually one of the fun and creative ways we take care of the animals. We're really passionate about the ocean and marine life, and we want to find a lot of different ways to share that passion and help other people become ambassadors like us so they can learn the things that we know and take better care of the ocean.
There are 36 dolphins, many rescued from a huge hurricane that destroyed their homes nearly 20 years ago.
Now, some of these girls in front of you here are some of those Hurricane Katrina survivors, like Tony, who's pretty easy to point out because she's got that scar on her dorsal fin.
The dolphins swim in natural seawater with sand on the bottom and fish all around them. And they get healthcare too.
They get full physicals twice a year. And most of the things we could actually just sit down and decide with them and just ask. We can ask them for their tail and get a blood sample. We can ask them to blow into a dish and get a respiratory sample. Most of the things we can just ask for.
If they do get sick, there are doctors and, if necessary, even a place for surgery. But they try to keep the dolphins healthy and well fed.
If you look right up there, can you smell that? That's sea lion and dolphin goodness right there.
Wow, did it smell? Are these rotten fish that people wouldn't eat?
Definitely not. This is sushi grade fish, high quality fish.
They go through nearly 1,000 pounds of fish a day. Do they eat better than if they were in the ocean?
You could say that because guess what? The ocean's a really tough place. One of the biggest threats to marine life in the ocean is plastic pollution.
I'd love to work with the dolphins, but
If you came to work for us like tomorrow, this would be your first job. You would come in here at 5 a.m. in the morning and you'd wash up and get elbow deep in fish, tossing and turning and rinsing and picking through by hand, making sure it's only the best quality fish that the animals are gonna get.
in addition to dolphins, there are sharks like this one with the nose that looks like a saw. There are lobsters, horseshoe crabs. I didn't want to touch it. Even sea snails called conchs.
So the eyes are right there and the mouth's in the middle. You want to touch it?
Sure.
Feel right there, slowly, slowly.
And turtles. Atlantis does a lot to save endangered turtles. It says it's released over 7,000 into the wild to increase the population. There are over 250 different kinds of animals here. Some are rescued and then released back into the wild. Others remain and are like teachers, helping us learn about the ocean and get us excited about protecting it. Drew Hubbard for Nightly News Kids in the Bahamas.
All right, Drew, that was terrific. Thanks so much. Well, let's turn now to what's on your mind. This week, one curious viewer had a question about something that was worn on our heads many years ago.
Hi Lester, my name is Theodore and I'm 7 years old and I'm from Concord, Massachusetts. My question is, why did people wear wigs with curls in the colonial era and why did they wear wigs like that and why did they stop? Bye, love NBC Nightly News Kids Edition.
Hi, Theodore. I'm glad to hear that you're from Concord, Massachusetts, which, as you know, and many of the people watching know, was the site of the first battle of the American Revolutionary War, 1775. And guess what? A lot of people in those days wore powdered wigs, just as you're saying. So why did they wear them? Well, one reason was that if you wore a powdered wig, especially if it was white powder, it was extremely fashionable. Another reason was that in those days, people had illnesses, oftentimes that would make them lose their hair, or there'd be scabs on their scalp. So if you wore a wig, that would all be covered up. The reason that they were powdered was that, you know, most people could not afford more than one wig. And if you wore a wig day after day, it would start to emit terribly bad smells. So if you had powder on the wig, there'd be perfume and the wig would smell a little bit better. So in the late 1700s, including Concord, Massachusetts, if you wore a powdered wig, it was status, it showed that you had lots of money, you were sort of high in social standing, and it was the thing to do in a certain category of people. So after the American Revolutionary War, people stopped wearing so many powdered wigs. Why was that? Well, one reason was that since we had won our revolution, we were Americans in favor of the common people, not the rich, not people with titles. And so therefore, hairstyles became much more fashionable if they were not powdered wigs, but if they were actually the way that the hair grows on someone's scalp, even if there were scabs, or even if the person, you know, did not grow as much hair as they would like. And the other thing is that wigs were pretty hard to keep up. They would attract fleas, they were expensive to powder, they were hot if you wore them on a hot day. So a lot of those people who were glad to wear powdered wigs when they were fashionable were really thrilled to get rid of them. Thank you so much, Theodore, for the great question.
Michael, thanks so much. And Theo, great question. Finally, in our Inspiring Kids series, a story about making dreams come true and the high school athlete who got a chance to meet his hero, NBA All-Star Steph Curry. Details now from our friend Kate Snow.
Back in November, we brought you the story about this incredible buzzer beater at Liberty High School in Peoria, Arizona.
T from three-point range. His 18th point of the night. Everyone crowds around him. A moment he will never forget.
That electrifying shot made by junior Tonatiuh Ramirez, who goes by T.
Yeah.
He's part of Coach Jesse Wilkes' unified sports program for students with special needs. And at the end of that segment, I said this.
T says he was inspired by his favorite NBA star, Stephen Curry. So, Steph, if you're out there, if you're watching, give T a shout out for us.
Turns out the Golden State Warrior was watching and invited T to a game.
There's somebody that wants to meet you there. Do you know who that is? His name's Steph Curry.
For T, it was the moment of a lifetime. The pair meeting, even doing drills together.
You were smiling the whole time, T?
Yeah, the whole time.
T's coach Jesse was also there watching.
What was it like to go to a game and then to get courtside?
Steph shot and then gave him like this little side high five, which, oh my gosh, it was just the best.
Curry took the time to give T some advice.
My dream is to be a professional basketball player and be like you. Like, yeah.
Keep working hard.
Yeah.
Keep working hard. Leaning on your family, your friends.
Yeah.
Keep having confidence in yourself, just like you did in that video.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do, man.
Yeah.
Work out, right?
And left him with some autographed swag.
Are those the shoes he gave you?
Yeah.
And what else?
The jersey.
He gave you a jersey.
Yeah.
The power of sports to unite, making one teen's dream come true.
I appreciate, the passion of, him as a basketball fan, a basketball player, his goals that he set for himself. And that's what basketball can do. Bring so many people together, provides inspiration.
All right, Kate, thanks so much for bringing us that story. Well, that's going to do it for us. Parents, just a reminder, if your child has a question about any topic in the news, email a video to us at nightlynewskids@nbcuni.com. You can also follow us on Instagram @nightlykids. Thanks for watching, and remember to take care of yourself and each other. So